Why is it that some people remain calm in the face of chaos while others fall apart? Why do some leaders inspire confidence even in uncertainty while others spread fear and doubt? It's not luck, it's not talent, it's training. The human mind is like a muscle. It learns, it adapts, and it strengthens if we train it. And just like a soldier doesn't learn to stay composed on the battlefield during the battle, we don't develop a calm mind in the moment of crisis. We train for it before it happens. Imagine a life where no situation, no challenge, no unexpected twist can shake you. Not because you don't face struggles, but because you've trained yourself to respond instead of react. That's what we're here to talk about today, how to train your mind to be calm in every situation. Imagine standing in the middle of a storm. The wind is howling, the rain is relentless, and everything around you feels like it's spiraling out of control. Now, picture a lighthouse, strong, unwavering, and unshaken by the chaos around it. That's the power of calmness. It is not about ignoring problems or pretending stress doesn't exist. It's about maintaining control over your mind when everything else feels uncontrollable. In any situation, the way we respond determines the outcome more than the situation itself. Panic leads to poor decisions, emotional outbursts, and unnecessary mistakes. On the other hand, composure allows for clarity, logic, and measured responses. When we remain calm, we can think more effectively, assess challenges with a level head, and find solutions rather than amplify the problem. The world is filled with uncertainty, and every day presents new challenges, some big, some small. Those who master the ability to stay composed are the ones who navigate life with confidence. They don't let external circumstances dictate their inner state. They understand that while they cannot control everything, they can always control their response. Calmness is a competitive advantage. In high-pressure situations, whether in business, sports, or personal relationships, the person who can remain steady and collected holds the power. It's what allows leaders to inspire, athletes to perform under pressure, and individuals to make thoughtful decisions when emotions are running high. Training the mind to stay calm is not about suppressing emotions, but about directing them in a way that serves us. It's about shifting from a reactive mindset to a responsive one. When we cultivate this skill, we don't just manage stress better, we unlock a new level of resilience, focus, and strength that helps us thrive in any situation. The mind is like a muscle. Whatever we train it to do repeatedly becomes its default response. Just as an athlete conditions their body through consistent practice, we must condition our minds to remain calm under pressure. Many people believe that composure is an inborn trait, something only a few lucky individuals possess. But the truth is, calmness is not a gift, it is a skill that can be developed through intentional training. Every day we are faced with situations that test our patience, resilience, and emotional control. Some people react instinctively, letting frustration, fear, or anger take over. Others, however, train themselves to pause, assess, and choose their response. The difference between these two types of people is not intelligence or experience, it is mental conditioning. Our brain follows patterns. If we repeatedly react with stress and anxiety, that becomes our automatic response. But if we train ourselves to slow down, breathe, and assess situations logically, we rewire our brain to operate from a place of stability rather than chaos. Neuroscience shows that the more we practice emotional regulation, the stronger our prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for rational thinking, becomes. This allows us to override impulsive emotional reactions with thoughtful responses. Just like going to the gym strengthens our muscles, practicing mindfulness, deep breathing, and self-awareness strengthens our ability to stay calm. It requires effort, but over time, it becomes second nature. The goal is not to eliminate stress or avoid challenges, but to build a mind that can navigate them with clarity and confidence. When we treat calmness as a skill to be trained rather than an emotion to be hoped for, we unlock a new level of control over our thoughts, actions, and overall well-being. In every situation, there are two ways to handle pressure: react or respond. Reacting is impulsive, emotional, and often irrational. It's when we let fear, anger, or frustration take control, leading to regretful words, poor decisions, or unnecessary stress. Responding, on the other hand, is intentional. It's the ability to pause, assess, and choose the best course of action with clarity and composure. The difference between the two is what separates those who thrive under pressure from those who crumble. Our natural instinct is to react. The brain is wired for survival, triggering fight or flight responses when faced with stress. This was useful when humans had to escape predators, but in modern life, reacting impulsively often does more harm than good. Snapping at a colleague, panicking in a crisis, or making hasty decisions can escalate problems instead of solving them. The key is to retrain the mind to shift from reactive to responsive thinking. Training ourselves to respond rather than react starts with awareness. When faced with a challenge, the first step is to pause. A simple, deep breath creates a gap between emotion and action, allowing logic to take over. Instead of letting emotions dictate behavior, asking, "What is the best response in this moment?" shifts focus from impulse to intention. Over time, this practice strengthens emotional intelligence and self-control. It helps us communicate more effectively, make better decisions, and handle adversity with a level head. Those who master the art of responding instead of reacting are the ones who remain calm under pressure, gain trust from others, and ultimately create better outcomes in any situation. The ability to choose response over reaction is not just a skill, it's a superpower that transforms the way we navigate life. The mind and body are deeply connected, and one of the most powerful tools for maintaining calmness in any situation is something we often take for granted: our breath. Breathing is more than just a basic function. It is a direct gateway to controlling our emotions, reducing stress, and sharpening our focus. When we are anxious or stressed, our breathing becomes shallow and rapid, signaling to the brain that we are in danger. This triggers the body's fight-or-flight response, increasing heart rate, tension, and emotional reactivity. However, by consciously controlling our breath, we can override this response and shift into a state of calm and clarity. Deep, controlled breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for relaxation and recovery. Techniques such as diaphragmatic breathing, box breathing, or the 4x7-8 method slow the heart rate, lower cortisol levels, and bring the mind into a state of balance. With regular practice, these techniques train the body to handle stress more efficiently, making calmness an automatic response rather than a struggle. Beyond just reducing stress, controlled breathing enhances mental clarity and decision-making. When we breathe deeply, we increase oxygen flow to the brain, improving cognitive function and helping us think more logically rather than emotionally. This is why athletes, military personnel, and high-performing individuals use breathwork to stay composed under pressure. Breathing also serves as an anchor to the present moment. When we focus on our breath, we pull ourselves away from past regrets and future anxieties, grounding ourselves in the now. Mastering this simple yet powerful tool allows us to navigate challenges with steadiness and control. It's a reminder that even in chaos, we always have something we can regulate: our breath, our mind, and ultimately our response to any situation. The way we perceive a situation determines how we experience it. Two people can go through the same challenge, yet one feels overwhelmed while the other remains composed. The difference is not in the event itself, but in their perspective. The mind assigns meaning to everything we encounter, and the meaning we choose dictates our emotional response. By shifting our perspective, we can transform stress into growth, obstacles into opportunities, and uncertainty into possibility. Most stress comes not from the situation itself, but from our interpretation of it. When faced with difficulties, the instinctive reaction is to see them as threats, something to fear or resist. However, those who train their minds to stay calm have learned to see challenges differently. They ask, "What can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger?" Instead of focusing on what they cannot control, they direct their energy toward what they can. This mindset shift turns fear into curiosity, anxiety into action, and frustration into patience. Perspective also plays a key role in emotional resilience. When we zoom in too closely on a problem, it can feel overwhelming, but when we step back, we gain clarity. Just like an artist stepping away from a painting to see the bigger picture, adjusting our viewpoint helps us make better decisions. Many things that seem urgent or stressful in the moment lose their power when viewed from a wider lens. The ability to shift perspective is a skill that can be cultivated through practice. It requires questioning our automatic thoughts, challenging negative assumptions, and choosing to see events in a way that empowers rather than paralyzes us. When we learn to control our perspective, we gain the ability to remain calm, think clearly, and respond wisely in any situation. In the heat of the moment, our emotions often push us to react instantly. We feel anger, frustration, or fear, and without thinking, we lash out, make rash decisions, or let stress take over. But true mental strength comes from mastering the ability to pause before reacting, what I call delayed judgment. It's the practice of giving yourself a moment of space between what happens and how you respond. When something unexpected or challenging occurs, the brain's immediate response is emotional. This is due to the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for fight or flight reactions. It interprets situations as threats, even when they are not life-threatening. But the good news is, if we pause for just a few seconds, we allow the rational part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, to take control. This simple delay helps us shift from an emotional reaction to a thoughtful response. Delayed judgment is especially powerful in difficult conversations or conflicts. Instead of reacting impulsively to criticism, misunderstanding, or negativity, taking a breath and waiting before responding can completely change the outcome. It allows us to process information objectively rather than letting emotions cloud our reasoning. Many regrets come from words spoken or decisions made in haste. By creating a gap between stimulus and response, we give ourselves the gift of clarity. Practicing delayed judgment doesn't mean suppressing emotions, it means managing them. It's about training the mind to stay patient, observe the situation, and choose the best course of action rather than the easiest or most instinctive one. Over time, this habit strengthens emotional intelligence, improves relationships, and enhances decision-making. Those who master this skill gain control over their emotions, rather than letting emotions control them. The mind doesn't like surprises. When faced with an unfamiliar or high-pressure situation, it often reacts with stress, hesitation, or fear. But what if we could train it to remain calm and composed before the challenge even arrives? This is the power of mental rehearsal. The practice of visualizing situations before they happen, preparing the mind to respond with confidence rather than panic. Top athletes, military professionals, and high performers use mental rehearsal to train for high-stakes moments. They don't just practice physically, they practice mentally. Before stepping onto the field, a top athlete has already played the game in their mind 100 times. A Navy SEAL doesn't wait for a crisis to figure out how to react. They have already visualized the scenario, trained their responses, and conditioned their mind to stay composed under pressure. The brain doesn't distinguish much between real and imagined experiences. When we visualize ourselves handling difficult situations with calmness and control, we create neural pathways that make those responses more natural in real life. By mentally rehearsing a stressful conversation, an important presentation, or a crisis scenario, we reduce the brain's tendency to react impulsively. Instead, we replace uncertainty with familiarity, making composure our default state. This technique is not just for extreme situations, it's for everyday life. Before a tough meeting, imagine yourself speaking with confidence. Before facing a stressful event, visualize yourself handling it with grace. The more we train our minds to see ourselves as calm and in control, the more natural that state becomes. Over time, mental rehearsal rewires the brain, turning what was once stressful into something manageable. By preparing the mind in advance, we don't just hope for calmness, we create it. The people and environments we surround ourselves with have a profound impact on our mindset. Just as a plant thrives in the right soil, our ability to remain calm is influenced by the atmosphere we cultivate. If we are constantly exposed to negativity, chaos, and high-stress individuals, our minds absorb that energy. On the other hand, when we intentionally create a stable and supportive environment, we reinforce calmness as a natural state. The people around us play a key role in shaping our emotional responses. If we spend time with individuals who panic at every challenge, complain about every obstacle, or react impulsively to stress, we are likely to adopt similar behaviors. But when we surround ourselves with those who remain composed, approach problems with a clear mind, and practice emotional control, we naturally start mirroring those traits. Calmness is contagious, just like anxiety is. Choosing the right company is not just about relationships, it's about mental conditioning. Beyond people, our physical environment also affects our ability to stay calm. Clutter, noise, and disorganization can create internal stress, even if we're not aware of it. A tidy, peaceful space promotes clarity and relaxation. Simple practices like minimizing distractions, incorporating calming elements like nature, or dedicating time for quiet reflection can make a significant difference in how we handle daily stress. Training the mind to stay calm is not just about internal work, it's also about external choices. By being intentional about who we spend time with and the spaces we create, we set ourselves up for success. Stability is not just a mindset, it's a result of the environment we design. When we take control of these external factors, we strengthen our ability to remain composed no matter what life throws our way. Calmness isn't built in a single moment of crisis. It's developed through small daily habits that train the mind to stay composed under pressure. Just like physical strength is gained through consistent exercise, mental resilience is cultivated through repeated actions that reinforce stability and control. The key is to focus on small daily wins that condition the brain to handle stress more effectively. Simple habits like starting the day with mindfulness, practicing deep breathing, or setting clear intentions can make a significant difference over time. Even taking a few moments each day to pause before reacting, reframing a stressful situation, or choosing patience in a frustrating moment strengthens the mind's ability to remain calm. The more we practice these small acts of composure, the more they become second nature. One of the biggest misconceptions is that calmness is something we must force in difficult moments. But the truth is, if we train for it daily, we don't have to force it at all. It becomes an automatic response. Just like an athlete doesn't wait until game day to train, we shouldn't wait until a crisis to practice calmness. Instead, we must integrate it into our routine so that when challenges arise, our minds are already conditioned to handle them with clarity and confidence. Every time we choose patience over frustration, deep breaths over panic, or a measured response over an emotional reaction, we are strengthening our ability to stay calm. These small wins may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time they create a powerful foundation of mental resilience. The goal is not to eliminate stress, but to build a mind so strong that stress no longer has control over us. True leadership is not about controlling others. It's about setting an example that others naturally want to follow. Calmness, like any other trait, is contagious. When we train our minds to remain composed in every situation, we don't just improve our own lives, we create a ripple effect that influences those around us. The way we handle pressure, uncertainty, and challenges becomes a silent message to others about how they, too, can navigate life with clarity and confidence. In moments of crisis, people look for stability. Whether in the workplace, at home, or in personal relationships, those who can stay calm under pressure earn trust and respect. A leader who panics spreads panic. A leader who remains steady inspires confidence. This applies not just to formal leadership, but to anyone who wants to make a positive impact. By choosing to stay composed, we become the anchor in any storm, giving others permission to respond with the same level of control. Calmness also improves our ability to communicate effectively. When emotions run high, words can become weapons. But a composed mind allows us to listen, understand, and respond in ways that de-escalate tension rather than fuel it. This makes us better teammates, friends, partners, and mentors. Instead of reacting impulsively, we create space for thoughtful discussions, rational problem-solving, and stronger relationships. Every time we demonstrate calmness, we are teaching others, whether consciously or unconsciously, that there is a better way to handle stress. The ability to remain calm is not just a personal advantage, it's a leadership trait that transforms teams, families, and communities. The more we embody it, the more we inspire others to do the same, creating a world where composure, clarity, and resilience become the norm rather than the exception. Conclusion. Calmness is not something we are born with, it is something we train for. Just like a muscle, the mind strengthens with practice, and the ability to stay composed in every situation is built through intentional habits. We've explored how shifting our perspective, training our breath, practicing delayed judgment, and surrounding ourselves with stability can transform the way we handle stress. We've seen how mental rehearsal prepares us for challenges, how small daily wins reinforce our control, and how leading by example inspires others to cultivate the same strength. The world will always be unpredictable, challenges will come, pressure will rise, and situations will test us. But the power to remain calm is already within us. It's just waiting to be developed. Every moment of frustration is an opportunity to practice patience. Every challenge is a chance to strengthen our response. Every decision to pause, breathe, and think before reacting brings us closer to mastering our emotions rather than being controlled by them. When we train our minds to be calm, we don't just improve our own lives, we elevate the people around us. We become the steady force in uncertain times, the voice of reason in chaos, and the example that others look to for guidance. In the end, true strength is not about overpowering situations, it's about mastering ourselves. And once we do that, no challenge, no crisis, and no moment of uncertainty will ever have the power to shake us.